This KC HiLiTES 50-inch LED light bar with wiring harness combination is going to be for those of you that have a 1987 and up Wrangler and are looking to add a 50-inch LED light bar for some auxiliary lighting. Now, these light bars in general, 50-inch light bars in general, are incredibly bright. They're going to be for when there really isn't anyone in front of you, either coming towards you or even driving away from you, because they just throw so many lumens. These are going to be for when you really need to see very far in front of you, when you're on the trail, when you're on those dark back roads at night, again, without any traffic around. However, if you want something that is going to be a little bit more useful in an everyday setting, a little bit less light, a little bit more controlled light, maybe one of the smaller light bars is going to be a nice option. However, a lot of you are going to install a 50-inch light bar like this one because you like the look of the bar and you may not even use it all that often, and that's okay too. However, if you are going to be using the light bar, this is going to be a really nice choice because of the build quality and the fact that it comes with this really nice, completely waterproof wiring harness. Now, because KC is one of those premium lighting brands, you are going to pay a little bit more for this light bar than some of the other ones on the market, but you are going to get a ton of light output and a very high build quality. As far as the materials that this bar is made out of, it is going to be similar to a lot of the other ones on the market. This is going to be an extruded aluminum housing with a polycarbonate lens. This does have a dual beam pattern like a lot of the other lights out there. So the outside corners of the light bar are going to be a 30-degree flood pattern, while the inside is going to be a 12-degree spot. So even though this does have a dual beam like a lot of the other ones, this is still going to be a little bit more narrow than a lot of the other lights on the market. A lot of the other ones will have something like a 60-degree flood. So with this light, you are going to get a ton of projection down the trail, down the road in front of you, not quite as much flood up close. Now, something that does make this light bar a little bit unique is that the backing of the reflectors, so the area that doesn't actually do any reflecting, is going to be a black pattern, giving the light a little bit more of that stealthy look, where on a lot of the other ones, it's going to be the same shiny metallic reflective material that the actual reflector is made out of. So again, that's just going to change the visual look of the light when the light isn't turned on. Now, this, as it says in the title, does come with a wiring harness like most KC products, and that harness is going to include a switch, a fuse, a relay, everything you're going to need to get this powered up and running. And instead of just a 2-wire pigtail on your light, you are going to have this screw-on weatherproof connector, which will make a direct connection right into that wiring harness. And that whole thing is going to make getting this wired up very easy. All you're really going to have to do is pull the wires so you can get power at the battery, get your switch mounted in the dash, and get the other end of the harness up to this weatherproof connector to make that connection. Finally, something that KC has done that I'm sure a lot of the other companies will follow suit on but haven't quite yet is adding a set of rubber isolators onto the cooling fins of the light. If you've run a 50-inch light bar before, you'll know that the wind passing over those cooling fins will make a humming noise, which can be very loud and very, very annoying when you're in the cab of the Jeep. So there are a lot of solutions, putting tape, using RTV, silicone sealer, really anything to keep those fins from vibrating. Well, KC has added 3 rubber isolators across the back of this light to eliminate that issue. As far as this installation goes, I am going to give it a 1 out of 3 wrenches. You're not really going to have to do any wiring at all because you have this essentially plug and play wiring harness. The whole installation process will probably take you around an hour, maybe a little bit more depending on how clean and neatly you want to run your wiring. Now, one important thing to note is that this light bar, like a lot of the other 50-inch, will come with a set of feet. However, the vast majority of you are going to want to purchase a 50-inch LED light bar mount to make your installation of your bar completely no drill and completely bolt-on. Those brackets are going to attach to the windshield hinges in the front, giving you a bolt-on bracket. The only other way to get this bar installed would be to actually drill into your windshield frame, which again, a lot of you are not going to want to do. So the first step in this installation is going to be getting the bar mounted onto the Jeep. And as I said, a lot of you are going to get a 50-inch LED light bar bracket. In order to do so, you'll hang the bar in its spot, running the wire down the inside of the bracket between the bracket and the windshield frame itself. From there, you can get your harness installed. So there is a group of wires that you'll have to pull through the firewall in order to get your switch hooked up. You're gonna have a positive and a negative that are gonna go right over to the battery to get power. And of course, the other end of this weatherproof connector that needs to go over to the bottom of the windshield frame so that that connection can be made as well. And after that, you're done. Flick your switch on the interior of your Jeep, fire up your light. This light bar is going to come in at right around $440, and I do think that's a pretty good price for what you're getting. There are light bars all over the spectrum as far as quality and price goes. You can go on the web, you can buy a light bar, a harness, and a set of brackets for $100, but you're going to get some condensation behind the lens, you're going to get LEDs that are burning out individually, or the whole light bar is just going to stop working on you. You're going to have all kinds of issues. On the flip side of that, you can get one of the top-end premium light bars on the market that's going to cost about 3 times what this one does without even including the harness, and then you still have to purchase your brackets. So it really depends on what your budget is and what you want for your Jeep. I think that this is a really nice mix of both quality and value. You're going to get something that's going to last a long time. You get 20,000 lumens, you get your wiring harness. However, it's not going to be that $1,500 price tag that the top of the line lights will carry. So if you're looking for a high quality but still fairly priced LED light bar for your Jeep, I would definitely recommend taking a look at this one from KC HiLiTES that you can find right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.